Hi everyone, my name is Courtney and welcome back to my channel. And today I'm starting my yearly wrap-up videos. I am extremely late. I have excuses. I don't know if they're good excuses, but I have excuses. Every year at the end of the year when I try and start preparing, try and get ready so that I can be on top of things for the new year, just everything starts to fail and I feel massive burnout and then I can't do anything. And then on top of that, there's just been a lot going on at work and I am in the SoCal area, so about an hour away from my house currently. You know, the world is on fire, which is great. I'm personally not in danger, but living in the SoCal area, we all know somebody that is being affected by this right now, you know, and we're trying to help and do everything we can, but in certain circumstances, you can't do a lot right now. And then on top of that, my dog decided to have a mini episode yesterday, and him being 17, I really thought we were going to be putting him down today on my birthday. Luckily, he got a lot better overnight and he's acting completely normal, like nothing happened, like he didn't try and scare me, so that's fine, but like, it's just always something, you know? But today I am going to be starting off doing my yearly wrap-up stuff, and we're gonna ignore that it's late, and we're gonna be happy that we're getting stuff done, and we're trying new stuff out. I got a new microphone for Christmas that I'm really excited about. I just had a overhead mic, which is great for more vlogging content, but now I have a actual studio mic, and we're gonna hope that it's working, and that this is not distorted, and that I have to do it again. Oh, the magics of YouTube, I guess. And yeah, I would love feedback, comments, to know how everything is working on your end. Of course, I'll be listening back and editing and everything, but if you have any comments, love to know. I'm not a super tech savvy person, so I am trying my best. So okay, this is the first video of this, which means we're going to be doing my least favorite books. Not sure if this is the video that's going out for you first, but this is the video I'm starting with. So we're going to be talking about my least favorite books of the year. I would say some of these are not even bad. They were just not great, and they were a massive slog to get through, but we will discuss my thoughts and opinions, whether it was a disappointment, whether it was just not good, whether it was just okay, but it was a slog to read through for me personally. We'll get into that. I guess we'll start from the best and go slowly to the worst. The best of the worst is going to be the Jasmine Throne or the Burning Kingdom series. I'm including the entire series in this. This was more of a disappointment read than it being bad, because I don't think it was awful. I gave this whole series a 3 out of 5 stars. Some were more like a 2.5. Some of them were closer to a 3. This first one I feel like was definitely the best in the series, but it still had a lot of issues. And overall, it was just sad because I was really excited to read this series. And especially when I read this first book, I'm like, okay, there's a lot of problems, but there's room for growth. I like these characters. I'm interested in the world. I'm excited to see where it goes from here. The author just never elevated it further. This is an adult fantasy series with sapphic main characters, and it is modeled after ancient India, but unfortunately it just never really got good. It always remained kind of middle of the road for me. The characters were really interesting. I feel like they're the strongest element of this book. There's a couple different perspectives, and the 3 female main characters I really did enjoy, but we have a servant girl who has a secret past who is in a subjugated kingdom. We have a princess that is exiled coming into the subjugated kingdom, and then we have this woman who is in power, kind of in a position of power in the subjugated kingdom. So it's kind of this subjugated kingdom kind of rebelling and fighting against the opposers, the oppressors, but it's really more about like the internal relationships that are, I don't want to say deal with a lot of tension because of the outside forces, but I guess there's like a push and pull because of the outside dynamics. But for me, this just remained middle of the road. I didn't feel like the fantasy world was really expanded upon and really dived deeply into. It always just felt very surface level. The magic itself felt very surface level, especially when you're dealing with like magic and religion. I expect there to be a little bit of a deeper discussion. This main character has powers, and slowly as you go through the course of the novel, it's like these beings that they worship are not good, and you know, they want a lot of things that would hurt these people, but also you're dealing with oppressors, and are their gods better because those gods are like helping them? Like, I just felt like those themes were never really dived into deeply, and so it just kind of remained kind of weird, like those dynamics and those unanswered questions. And the characters, again, were interesting, but they never were dived deep into enough. I felt like the 2 people that knew each other, Priya and Bhumika, they really knew each other and had an interesting relationship, but the sapphic romance didn't really get developed developed really well because you're kind of expected these two characters to have built this relationship with each other. Like, you're supposed to already like buy into their relationship when really all that they had together was like a couple of months. Malia is like drugged out of her mind and Priya is kind of taking care of her. But again, those chapters felt like very skimmed over in a lot of ways. So like you were supposed to invest in like this 100-page moment kind of and just like use that as the base for this entire relationship. So for me, that just, it never really worked. And so yeah, this series was just kind of a disappointment. It wasn't bad. It just wasn't what I was hoping it would be. It just wasn't up to the standard I have, I guess, for fantasy. I'm realizing as much as I'm like a character person, as much as I care about these relationships, I really do need a strong foundation with plot and with worlds. I really care about worlds and magic system and rules. And this struggled with the plot, trying to make the plot actually important to the characters and what's going on. It felt like it was just not invested in the plot and just doing plot beats because it had to do plot beats. And again, it just never felt like the world was that significant unless it was just moving characters into what they needed to be doing. So yeah, it was just kind of okay for me. The next book is another disappointing read for me, and that is The Blood Witch. Again, this entire series by Susan Dennard. I believe I read Truth Witch, which is the first book, last year, and I enjoyed it. I thought it was a fun start to a really fun fantasy series, and I read the next two books and was completely bogged down. I really slogged through this story. Basically, you have these two young girls who are kind of under some mentors' wings. One of them has connections to a court, and because of circumstances, they are kind of revealed to be very powerful people and possibly Messiah-like characters from legend. Although this legend has never really come up at all in the series. Like, I'm very confused by that. Again, this is another series where the magic, the lore, the world just never really gets developed. We spend so much of the plot in these, honestly, the first three books, but the second and third book made it really unbearable. Just like these characters running around in the woods basically and like just traveling places. I can't watch like fight scene after fight scene, even if they are good, if like the characters aren't growing and developing, the plot isn't moving forward, if I'm not learning about the world and the legends. You are a little bit, but series just felt so sloggy. I expected everything that happened in the first three books to like just happen in the first book and a half, maybe. I don't understand where this series is going because it just is taking so long for it to get anywhere. It really went from like a 4-star with the first book to like a 2 and 3-star with the next two books. I'm just really flabbergasted as to why these books felt so sloggy. The next book I have is The Time I Got Drunk and Saved a Demon by Kimberly Lemming. This is one of those books where I'm not mad at it. I'm giving it like a 2.5 stars. Realistically, it should probably be like a 2-star, but like, did this annoy me? Did I struggle through it? Like, I struggled through it a little bit just trying to get myself to focus and read it, but it wasn't bad. You know, it's cute. It's fun. I could recommend this to people. I can see why people enjoy this, but it's just not for me. This is basically about a girl who is a spice trader, and because of circumstances, she kind of gets wrapped into the world of like saviors and saving the kingdom for this goddess kind of thing. Is that the plot of it? I think so. It's supposed to be in that realm of cozy fantasy where the background plot is not really as important as the romance. It's supposed to be just kind of rom-commy and fun in like a pseudo-medieval style world. And again, this was fun. It was silly, it was a little over the top, a little kooky. I felt like this worked because the author kind of set up her tone and kind of set up like how this book was going to play out in the first couple chapters. So like, I can't be mad at this because it set itself up to be exactly what it set out to be, you know? Like, it established itself as being kind of goofy, as being a little bit anachronistic, as just being very tongue-in-cheek when it did all those things. I wasn't mad at it. It's silly, it's rom-commy, it's just not personally my thing, but I didn't hate it. It was a good time when I could focus myself, but just not my personal cup of tea, which is fine. But the next book I have to talk about is the Kami-sama Kiss series. This is like a 3-star series for me. It's just fine. It's a series I loved as a kid, as a teen, but growing up and reading it again now, it just didn't really hold my interest in the same way, and in fact kind of annoyed me sometimes. This is a paranormal fantasy shoujo series, so basically it's about a young girl who is kind of tasked with taking care of a shrine, a magical shrine where there is a yokai who she falls in love with, and I really really love like the whole yokai backstory, but a lot of the other plot just kind of suffered for me. I just wanted more character growth for Nanami. I wanted her to have more hopes and dreams, and just, she had a personality, but I just wanted more about her, and just for her to really take focus and for her growing powers to be more of a thing. It's more of a high school drama slice of life in a lot of ways, and I felt like it really did suffer when it focused in on the episodic sections. I felt like the last volume was pretty decent. Again, by that point I was kind of annoyed with the characters and stuff. In terms of like story, it like do a good job of the ending, so it was fine. It's just not my favorite anymore. And I hate to say I grow out of things, but I guess I have grown out of this one, but I do still have a lot of shoujo romance and anime that I do really enjoy, so I'm just going to be focusing in on that. The next book I have is Crier's War by Nina Verley. This is a duology. It's fantasy, but there is scientific elements to it because there are automatons. Basically, at one point, humans created automatons. They ruled over them. Automatons have fought back, and now they rule over regular people. There's just a lot that didn't work in this series, a lot of stuff that's really convoluted. At this point, I'm realizing that a lot of YA books kind of do this whole character entering into a rebellion thing, and a lot of times they are not good. They're not well done, they're not well thought out. You know, it's just like, oh, teens like rebelling, teens like being against the grain. Okay, the plot is teen is rebelling against the oppressors, and we're not going to really dive into more than that. And on top of that, I just felt like the romance was out of nowhere. It didn't really develop well. It was kind of insta-lovey. One of the characters just really annoyed me. There were things that I wish was more thought out. Basically, I just kind of slogged through this and was just kind of like pissed off the entire time. That's what I remember. Like, so this wasn't bad. There were things that I liked about it. There were things that I thought were good concepts, but I just remember a lot of this book did make me mad. Like this, and like this, I do plan on finishing the series because I have a completionist problem. But yeah, this was like a 2-star for me. I really just did not enjoy that one. And it's been so long ago that I can't remember like specifics, but like I am remembering being annoyed reading this, which is never a good feeling. The next book I have is Beyond the Black Door by A.M. Strickland. I feel like this has just been a not well received book for a very long time. Everybody's just been kind of meh over it, or I've just like really disliked it, but I'm like, I'm gonna read it. I have to read it. It's an ace book. I have to read it. And unfortunately, I was hoping to find like a hidden gem or just like find something that I could really love. I felt like everybody else. Unfortunately, this was just very meh. This is again is a fantasy novel, and it's a whole dreamscape. I don't know why I didn't look into that, because I really hate fantasy books that deal with dream worlds. I just don't enjoy most of the plot happening in dreams. It just annoys the crap out of me. So that's my fault. But yeah, it's basically about a girl who has the ability to travel into dreams. She meets like a dark, mysterious young man there, but she is also like escaping in her day-to-day world as political stuff is going on. And yeah, the world wasn't really super fleshed out. The ace explanations, allegories just were kind of, I don't want to say bad because this book is older, so I'm sure for the time it was good, but it just didn't personally work for me. Again, a lot of dream stuff, and just it didn't work for me. A lot of it just felt really dry, and like they were using this book to get the allegory out without actually like making a compelling book. So yeah, that one was just, it was just not good. The next book I have is another one that I was just really disappointed by, and that is Can't Spell Treason Without T by Rebecca Thorne. I wanted to love this book so bad. I feel like a lot of these cozy fantasies just are middle of the road and just don't work, or else are just like really difficult to slog through because again, they don't work. And this is unfortunately in latter category. Like this really struggled a lot for me, not just with like writing stuff, but also like pacing was really off. Story setup was just really off. There was a lot of this that I felt like needed a lot of help. I'm on the edge of whether I want to read this entire series or not, maybe through audiobook, because again, I really just slogged through this and did not enjoy myself, but I do feel that need to be a completionist. But yeah, this is an adult fantasy series, cozy fantasy, with another sapphic main character, and it's these two young women who, one of them is like the mage of the land, the most powerful mage, while the other one is the guard to a evil queen type character, and it's them escaping into the remote town, really, in the far north where there's dragons going on, but they're gonna set up a tea shop and sell tea and books. And like, yeah, that premise, it should be good, but it was just, again, setup, pacing. I felt like this could have worked almost as like a 12 episode anime, a cozy slice of life anime, but it just didn't quite work out as a book. Like, it just, yeah, it didn't. And on top of that, you're dealing with characters that that have already been in a relationship for a long time. Their problems are not about them getting together. I really just didn't feel the chemistry from them because I didn't know them and see them meeting each other and connecting. And on top of that, it didn't feel like it really dealt with like U-Haul lesbian culture properly, because that's what they were. They were U-Haul lesbians, and so it should have been them, like, I don't want to say suffering, but like really struggling in a first-time relationship where they're actually living together. I felt like that should have been more of the main conflict, but instead it was doing other stuff. And to me, it didn't work. But yes, now we've come to the time. What is my least favorite book of the year? If you watched my previous videos, you probably know, because I was not being hyperbolic with my title for that video. Yes, my least favorite book is The Nightmare Before Christmas. This was just, it was bad. It was badly written, badly paced, just so much of it was so bad. Like, I am just so sorry, but this was not good. And I have all my reasons for not liking it in that video. It was a mess. Pacing wise, plot wise, character wise, just story, world, everything. Nothing made sense. Nothing was well developed. The things that it needed to focus on were not focused on, and it was just not good. So yeah, that's my least favorite book of the year. Highly recommend watching that video if you love a good rant review. And I personally do love a good rant review. So yeah, enjoy. But yes, those are all my least favorite books of the year. Again, I felt like a lot of books this year were just kind of middle of the road, just kind of meh. There weren't a lot of standouts for me personally, unfortunately, but like these were the ones that I was really slogging through, that I was really not enjoying. These were some of the books that really bogged me down, which is unfortunate because a couple of these, I'm including the rest of the series, so, you know, I only showed like 1 or 2 books, but I was really talking about like a couple more because I'm talking about a whole series here. So I really like myself to suffer. It's unfortunate, but I do. So yay, that's my fault. But let me know what you enjoyed this year. Let me know what you did not enjoy, and get ready for my favorite books of the year to come out very soon as well, because I did enjoy some things. Yay. They were really good and I can't wait to talk about them. I'm so excited.